In an industry filled with sequels, reboots, and remasters, The Last of Us is a standout. Not only was the 2013 PlayStation exclusive a new intellectual property, but it became a classic the second it hit stores. While the game's two leads, Ellie, a not-so-regular teenager played by Ashley Johnson, and Joel, her jaded protector played by Troy Baker, became instant stars. Of course, we'd expect no less from the Naughty Dog team, the same people who brought us classics like Joel and Daxter and Uncharted. Still, development on The Last of Us wasn't always easy, and the game wasn't free of controversy post-launch. After all, making video games is really hard. Naughty Dog just makes it look easy. From comics to PlayStations. The Last of Us creator Neil Druckmann didn't always want to be a game designer. His first love was comics. Before The Last of Us became a video game, Druckmann developed a comic book called The Turning, in which a police officer tries to protect a young girl from the undead hordes while also battling a heart condition. He pitched it to Image Comics, who liked it but didn't love it, and Druckmann shelved the series.
I know it doesn't look like it, but this here is not a bad read. Only one problem. Right there. To be continued.
Druckmann's comic writing dreams did come true eventually, though. With co-writer and artist Faith Erin Hicks, Druckmann produced The Last of Us American Dreams, a 4-issue prequel miniseries that introduced the character of Riley, Ellie's best friend. Druckmann liked Riley so much that he made her the co-star of the game's DLC, The Last of Us Left Behind. The Tale of Joel and Daxter. In the 90s and early 2000s, Naughty Dog was best known for 3D platformers like Crash Bandicoot and Joel and Daxter. While the studio is now known for the Uncharted series, those early franchises are still big with fans, and in 2009, the studio decided to devote resources to a big Joel and Daxter reboot, only to shift gears and make The Last of Us instead. Following Uncharted 2's success, Naughty Dog split its staff into two groups. One team devoted themselves to the Uncharted franchise, while the other, which included both Neil Druckmann and Uncharted 2 director Bruce Straley, was tasked with bringing Joel and Daxter into the modern age. However, Naughty Dog's second team realized that they were just using the Joel and Daxter name for marketing purposes, and asked the higher-ups if they could do something else. The execs agreed, and the team started brainstorming ideas. Thus, The Last of Us was born. Game industry sexism. You'll spend most of The Last of Us controlling Joel, a middle-aged smuggler, but his teenage charge, Ellie, is just as important to the story. However, that didn't stop executives from trying to minimize her role in The Last of Us's marketing campaign. In an interview with VG247, Druckmann admitted that he'd been pressured to push Ellie to the back of The Last of Us's box art. He and everyone else at Naughty Dog refused to comply and put her front and center instead. Not that Druckmann and those making the game were perfect. Early in development, the fungal plague that transforms humans into monsters was only going to affect women. Druckmann and his team soon realized that a game based on gunning down women would have been grotesquely misogynist and backed off the idea. Ellen Page is not a fan. Judging by the review scores, almost everyone loves The Last of Us, but don't count Juno star Ellen Page among the game's fans. When asked about the resemblance between Page and The Last of Us's Ellie, the actress accused Naughty Dog of stealing her likeness. When The Last of Us's first trailer debuted in 2011, fans noticed the similarity between the two almost immediately. During a Reddit Ask Me Anything session, a fan asked Page what she thought about her virtual doppelganger. She replied, "I guess I should be flattered that they ripped off my likeness, but I am actually acting in a video game called Beyond Two Souls, so it was not appreciated." At least Paige doesn't hold a grudge against Ellie actor Ashley Johnson. When a fan reached out to Paige on Twitter and complimented her performance in The Last of Us, Paige directed them to Johnson, encouraging fans to send her props. Now with a happier ending. The Last of Us's ending is one for the ages. Nearly 5 years after the game's debut, people are still debating whether or not Joel made the right choice by saving Ellie, and possibly dooming humankind in the process. It could have been different. At one point, Joel and Ellie got a relatively happy ending. Originally, Ellie was going to be a much more innocent character, and the big endgame twist involved the teenage girl taking a life for the first time. That didn't pan out, however, as it made Ellie passive during The Last of Us's many combat scenes. Druckmann decided that giving Joel and Ellie a hopeful ending was letting them off too easy. The new final ending is thematically appropriate, but it wasn't necessarily popular, testing poorly with audiences, and splitting the development team in two. But it was decided bummer is better. That one kiss. The Last of Us doesn't spend a lot of time exploring Ellie's romantic life. She's a bit too busy trying to survive. The game's DLC, The Last of Us Left Behind, is a different story. Taking place before the main game, Ellie spends a day in an abandoned shopping mall with her best bud, Riley. But Riley is more than just a friend.
Sorry. For what?
Immediately, the fan community went into overdrive. What did that kiss mean? According to Neil Druckmann, it's pretty clear. Druckmann told Gay Gamer, "When I was writing it with the idea that Ellie is gay. And when the actresses were working, they were definitely working with the idea that they're both attracted to each other." And if there were still any lingering doubts, the new trailer for The Last of Us Part 2 shows an older Ellie enjoying a dance and a kiss with her new girlfriend, played by Westworld actress Shannon Woodward. We can only hope nothing bad happens to them.